5 year students of optional English on the topic Introduction to the Sounds of English. First of all, see the introduction about the language. All of you know that we use the language for the communication. It is very important part of our life. We can communicate with the people in many ways. At that time, language becomes very important in our life. There is extensive use of the language, so we do not become so much serious about it. Language is used in many countries, especially today around 3,000 languages are spoken throughout the world, and they are different from each other. In what way they are different, that we have to discuss today, because phonetics, semantics, morphology, syntax and pragmatics are the aspects of the linguistics. Now we have to discuss first aspect, that is the term phonetics. Now let us see the term phonetics means. Phonetics is the word derived from the Greek root word phon, which means sound, or we can say the voice. If we see the further evolution about the phonetics, phonetics is the branch of linguistics that focuses on the production and classification of the words, speech, sounds. When we define the phonetics, phonetics is the systematic speech sounds and their production, audition and perception. Here when we discuss about, or when we pay attention towards the phonetics, we should think that there should be systematic study of the speech sounds and their production, audition and perception. So phonetics can refer to the study of the speech sounds of any language. Means in any, don't think that there is only the phonetics in English language, but we can study the phonetics in any language, not only in English. So today we have to discuss that there is a discussion only on the speech sounds of English, that are the sounds of the British English, that is the issue pronunciation. Now let us see the difference between phonology and phonetics. This brings us to the distinction between phonology and phonetics, because when we pronounce the words, we see there is a major difference in the pronunciation. So it's necessary to have the difference between the phonology and phonetics. These are the two terms which are often used interchangeably by the common man. Common men use these words simultaneously, so it's necessary to have the difference, to know the difference between the two terms, phonology and phonetics. When we know about the phonology, it refers to the study of the spoken sounds of one particular language, not general but only specific language or particular language, that is the phonology. So phonology is, it refers to the study of the spoken words of one particular language. And what is the phonetics? Phonetics, it refers to the study of the human language in general, not in particular but in general. That is the major difference that you can see here. Phonology refers to the spoken sounds of the one particular language, but phonetics refers to the sounds of human language in general. In this, that is the major difference between the phonology and phonetics. Hence, we speak of phonetics of a language in general. But we use expressions like, we know that many times we use expressions like in phonology of English or phonology of Hindi, while referring to the sounds, study of the sounds of systematic one particular language. So we can say phonology of English, phonology of Hindi, while referring to the sounds of the system of one particular language. So in this way we have here the difference between the phonology and phonetics. Now see the further part of it which is related to the phonetics, that's the sounds of English. All of you know that language is used as a means of communication. Means communication is nothing but it is an exchange of ideas, facts, emotions and attitudes between two or more persons is called a communication. We have another definition of communication when the information is given by the persons, especially when the conversation that takes place between the two or more persons by giving the or exchanging the information is called a communication. There are two types of communication. First is the form of verbal communication and second one is the non-verbal communication. Now let us see what do we mean by verbal communication. Do you know about the verbal communication means? Verbal communication means when the words are used to give the message. When the words are used to give the message is called communication, that is the verbal communication. And what about non-verbal communication? When the words are not used to give the communication. Means without using the words, another aspects are used to give the message. At that time we can call it as a non-verbal communication. Do you think that is it possible to have the communication? Yes, it's possible. We will discuss later verse. Now we have to see in detail about verbal communication. You know that there are two types of verbal communication, written communication and spoken communication. If we say about the written communication, you have learned in 5th standard alphabets. How many alphabets that you learn in English? There are 26 letters, alphabets of English A to Z that you learn. That we say in verbal communication that letters are used. Another spoken words, that is spoken sounds. Second type, that is spoken. So there are 44 sounds. You have learned alphabets 26, that is the letter 26, but it has 44 sounds. In this way, these are the two types of the verbal communication, written and spoken. Now let us discuss second part of the communication, non-verbal communication. Do you get the idea about the non-verbal communication when we discuss the definition of it? Perhaps you got it. If you don't have, now we have to see which are the aspects that include in the non-verbal communication. See here, gestures. When we see the gestures of the persons, when the teacher says something, asks the questions to the students, at that time there is a sign of expression on their face. Students understand whether students know or if they are able to give the answer or not. We can say there are various kinds of expression that the persons have. So here we have one kind of the communication. That is the non-verbal communication without using the words, means gestures are there. Second, body language. Use of the body language. When the person uses the hand, yes or no, movements of the hand or any body movement, at that time we understand what the person wants to say. So it is one of the aspects of the non-verbal communication. Then signs. There are different signs that we can understand what the message that it gives. And then last one, symbols. Symbols, when we read the symbols, at that time we understand what does it mean, what is the meaning of the symbols. In this way, these are the four aspects that which include in the non-verbal communication. Now, we know that each language has its own number of speech sounds. Now we have to see in detail what are the speech sounds are there. Already we have the reference in verbal communication, which are two types, written and spoken. In spoken there are 44 speech sounds that we have to learn in detail. There are 44 speech sounds in RP English. What do you mean by RP? RP means received pronunciation, that is the British English. In Indian English we have learned 26 alphabets, but it has 44 sounds. How they are divided into parts? There are two parts. Sounds are divided into two parts, consonants and vowels. Out of 44 consonants, there are 24 consonants. Out of 44 speech sounds, there are 24 consonants and 20 vowels. Which are what? Here, vowels are divided into two parts. What are the two parts of the vowels? First one, pure vowels. Pure vowels is also called monothems. What is the meaning of pure vowels? Pure vowel means when there is occurrence of the single vowel in a word, it's called a pure vowel, or you can say the monophthongs. Single vowel means there is only one vowel that takes place in the production of the one or pronunciation of the one word. Then what about the diphthong? Diphthong, there are 8 diphthongs. Means out of 20, 12 pure vowels and 8 diphthongs. Diphthong means, if you see the definition of diphthongs, when there is a combination of 2 vowels in one word. Means when 2 vowels combine together in one word, it is called a diphthong. When we learn all the sounds in English, that the 44 sounds, then it will clear to all of you how there is combination of the 2 vowels that comes in one word. Especially I would like to give the example of it. Here, if we see the example of the right, the word right, W-R-I-T. But when you pronouncing the word here, right, A and E that combines together, so it's called a diphthong. Now, let us see the discrepancy between English spelling and pronunciation. What do you mean by discrepancy? Discrepancy means the difference. That the difference we have to point out here. How there is difference between spelling and pronunciation? Because many times when we pronounce the words or even when we listen the words from radio, television, the news, at that time we don't understand the pronunciation of the particular speaker. What the reason behind it? Because of the particular spelling and pronunciation that we have to learn. Now, the study of English pronunciation, it can be confusing because when we listen in a word, it becomes confused that we don't understand what's the exact meaning of the particular word. What the reason behind it? Because there is a discrepancy between English spelling and pronunciation. When we read, when we see there are many languages that are spoken throughout the world. That is not only Indian language, British language, there are American English, British English, Canadian English, African English. These are the different languages that are spoken throughout the world. So there is a discrepancy difference between the English spelling and pronunciation. What the reason behind it? Because there is a lack. There is a lack of one-to-one equation. What is the one-to-one equation? There is a lack of one-to-one equation of letters and sounds. There is a difference in letters and sounds. There is a lack of one equation. There is no equation because of number of sounds in English. Why there is lack of equation? Why there is no equation? Because the number of sounds in English 44. Because we have learned only 26 letters A to Z, which are 26. Out of that, there are only 5 vowels A, E, R, O, U. 5 vowels that you learn, but it has 20 sounds. Even that vowels are divided into 2 parts, that the pure vowels and diphthongs. Then consonants you have learned only 21 consonants out of 26 letters, but here there are 24 consonants. All these 44 sounds that we have to learn. So because of that 44 sounds in English, there is a discrepancy in pronunciation. Now, see the difference between letters and sound. How we confused? Because there are some letters which have different sounds are there. Only we have learned alphabets 26 A to Z. But there are some letters which have different sounds. We have not thought about it. It is necessary to learn all the 44 sounds in English. Here, for most Indian language speakers use it, and we don't understand the pronunciation of the Indian speakers. Here we have the examples that one letter represents different sounds. Take any one letter, not any one, but here we have one letter here which represents different sounds here. See the example, A is the same letter. A is the letter which represents 7 different sounds in the following words. Here are the words that it will clear to all of you how the same letter O, it has different sounds in different words. Now see one by one. See the first word, woman. First word, woman. In the woman, A is pronounced as A. A is pronounced as A. In the second, hat. A is pronounced as A. Then next word, last. Here A is pronounced as A. And in watch, A is pronounced as O, small o. next word water. In this word, long vowel there. Water, long vowel. In what? Short vowel. Or. Then village, village, village. Here A is pronounced as A. Village, E. In this, these are the different sounds that we see in these different words. So here we come to know that same letter, only a letter, it has different sounds in different words. Is it clear? Now see the one word what is here, late. L-A-T. Here a letter has a sound. Here is the use of the diphthongs. Two vowels that combine together. That a, that is the pronunciation of that word is late. Don't say late. L-E-T, that's a late, but L-A-T, that's a late. That's the difference between the two words, the pronunciation. Late, late. So here is the sound of the a. In this, these are the 7 examples which have different sounds of the same letter A. Now, same letter, different sounds O, as in the words. We see the examples. First of all, we have C. A represents different sounds in different words. Here, another letter we have to see O, which is the same letter, but it has different sounds in the words. Here, gosh. In the first word, O is there. Good. Here is short U, good. In the third, women. Here, we is here. So, in this way, these are the different pronunciation of the same letter. Now, see the another example, come. Here, O has a sound, come. And go. O is A and U is there. So in this way, these are the different words, but they have different sounds of the same letter O. In this way, these are the examples that we get regarding the same letter has different sounds in different words. Now, let us see another point. Sometimes there is the same combination of the letters represent different sounds. If there is same combination, if there are two letters that are combined in a word, in a different word but the same combination is there of the letters, at that time they have different sound, there is a different pronunciation. Now let us see the examples. See the first word, C-H-E-M-I-S-T-R, chemistry. Here CH, it has the sound K. See here combination of the two letters C and H. But it's called, generally we say so, but in the particular word it is pronounced as chemistry. But in the second word, CHAR, even we have here the different pronunciation, that is the chair, and so. Then in the third word, CH is there in the machine, but it has different sound, show is here. See, these are the different words. There is a combination of the two letters C and H. Generally we can say so, but in these three different words there is a different sound. So, and show. These are the different words that occurs in the combination of the same letters. Now, see the further part of it. There are the different letters but same sound. So, which is completely different. Different letters are, but they have the same sound. See the example here, A is the same sound that we see in the different letters. Here A is the same sound, it has different letters. Which are the examples? See the words age, E-N, and. In the second word, many. See, sound is same, A is there, but words are different. And many. Another example, gaze, head. Here in the third word, A is there, gaze. But in the fourth word, H-E-A-D, head. See the here same sound is but the different letters are here, different words are here. Different letters that we see that they have sound. In this way, same sound has different letters that takes place in different words. Another example, friend and leisure. Here, sound is same, but letters are different. Here, A, EA, then AE. EA and AE, these are the diphthong that takes place in the word, but actually it has the different pronunciation, that is the same sound, that is the A. In this way here different letters have same sound. If you see the example of A is the same sound that occurs in different letters, especially and, many, guess, head, front and ledger. Now there are different letters, same sound. See another example. There are the different letters and same sound. In the K is the sound that we see in different words, in different letters. See the first example, kill. Here K that takes place in the word kill, but in the second word come. See the C is occurs but it has the K sound. Question, here Q that takes place but it has a K sound. Then chemistry, here CH, that the combination of the two letters, it has the K sound. Then tuck, seeking, combination of two letters but it has a K sound. In this way here are the different letters are there, but it has the same sound, K. K sound has here in different letters, and these are the examples: kill, come, question, chemistry, duck. Now in content word, there are some content words which are silent, which become silent, or some words are pronounced, some letters are not pronounced, they are unpronounced, or they do not represent their sound, or in the words which are given below. Means there are some words that takes place, some letter they do not pronounce, they become silent. Now see the examples. If you see the word doubt, D-O-U-B-T, there are the 5 letters. Out of that 5 letters, one letter is not pronounced, that becomes silent, that is B. So we pronounce it as doubt. Then receipt, R-E-C-I-P-T. Here P becomes silent, it is not pronounced. So we have the pronunciation receipt. Then thumb, T-H-U-M-B. Here B, that become silent. So we have the pronunciation only thumb. B is not pronounced, which becomes silence. Then next word, naive. So when the word begins with the letter K, K-N-R-F, but actually when you pronounce the word, K becomes silent and it has the pronunciation naive. Then another example, half, H-L. We have L letter in that word, but L becomes silent. That is pronounced as half. And the last word, Christmas, Christmas. We have here the T letter is not pronounced, which becomes silent. So we have the pronunciation of the particular word, Christmas. T becomes silent. In this way, these are the words that takes place in which these are the content words in which one letter that becomes silent. So one thing that you have to keep in mind, which are the letters, that the sounds that we have to learn, these are the 44 sounds, but especially regarding the consonants, 24 consonants, they are don't pronounce that L, P, K, but there are the different sounds, L, B, K, Ch, D. These are the sounds that takes place in the particular words. In this way, these are the example that we have seen that which the letters become silent. There are also sometimes a single letter that represent the two sounds. One single letter that takes place, but it has two sounds. Which are the example? We can say here fix. When we have only 3 letters for F, R, X, but when actually we have the sounds, there are not only 3 sounds, F, E, K and S. There are 4 sounds in the particular letters. So X, it has K and sound that are mixed. So single letter has 2 sounds, that is fix. Here X, it has K and S. Another example, exact. When you pronounce the word exact, here second letter X, it has E and G sound. So there are 2 letters, that is a single letter has 2 sounds, E and G. So we can pronounce that exact. Fix and exact. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.